Welcome to Coffee and an Interview. I'm Jacqueline Pena, and I'm here today with Aditi Wardhan Singh on the topic of using your cultural experiences for empowerment. How are you doing today?
I am good. I am excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me today, nice in the morning with coffee, to talk about this very important topic of using our cultural experiences for empowerment. I thought maybe we could start with having you share a little bit about who you are and what you do so we could connect all of that to the topic for today's interview.
Wonderful. So I am Aditi Wardhan Singh. I am an award-winning author and the founder of the Raising World Children online and in print platform. It's a platform where I am striving to bring diverse voices together so we can help empower children using our cultural experiences. What I mean by that is that we all experience life in different ways, and that is a lot to do with our personal thoughts and our personal processes and our cultural influence and our heritage and present cultures all combined, right? We are all being raised in multicultural environments right now. And especially our kids, like even if you have been raised in any form, your kids are going to be raised on the borders of multiple cultures, no matter where they are. So I hope that I can help parents be more mindful of their own decisions by bringing forth topics to discuss with their kids. So I have written 2 books, Strong Roots Have No Fear, which is a parenting book. It has won a number of awards and has been featured on a lot of platforms. It's a parenting book full of conversation starters for kids to build good decision-making skills, cultural sensitivity towards others, be more empathetic, be more kind, be more rooted in their own value system, because everyone has to develop their own value system. So those kind of things. And I'm really glad to say that the success of the book just talks about how many more parents want to see books that are talking about the mindfulness of a child, because I have written the book from my own perspective. Growing up as a third culture child, I'm Indian. I was raised in Kuwait, so I was never Indian enough for India, and never never anything else for any other country. And now I'm in America raising American kids. We're all Americans now, yay! But yes, it's been a challenge raising my kids, but I can still relate to their struggles culturally. So that's where my platform came in, where my journey from a writer to a I think person who wishes to join people together has come in, where I want people to think about how we all influence each other and how we influence our kids because of that. And my other book, How Our Skin Sparkles, just won an award for excellence in literature for school issues. And what it talks about is, of course, our skin color, but I've used the Indian culture and concept and science, most importantly, because I want our kids to know that they can blend today's culture, the world around them, and have their feet in facts always. Because with the way the world is going, we want to make sure our kids are empowered enough to be global thinkers right from the get-go. It doesn't matter how they're doing academically. That's my personal belief. I want my kids to know that they need to be good people first, and they need to help others around them and understand why people do the things they do. Because I think a lot of what's happening in the world today is because of the fear of not understanding each other and not being willing to see another person's perspective. So I think that's the long and short of what I do. On our platform, we have a team of writers who write together. We feature guest writers all the time. And now I have turned self-publishing coach, wherein I am helping other writers become authors and bring their multicultural experience forward in talking about everyday things and hopefully lift each other up.
Yeah, I love that. Lift each other up, and how you use you had this purpose, this big why that really pushed you with raising world children. And now seeing the power behind that and how many people you could impact, now turning into the coaching side of things and helping other people become published writers so that they themselves can use their stories to empower other people. So it's a wonderful kind of like a circular process, right? It's a wonderful way of coming all around and helping others do the same thing that you're doing with raising world children. You mentioned a couple of interesting things, and I want to ask you a few questions about that. So one of them was this idea of a third culture child. And could you share a little bit more about what that even means and why that becomes so critical when we're looking at where we live and what we do?
Right. So third culture children ideally are children who are from one culture and being raised in another culture. I don't even fit in that mold in the definition of the term, but because I was raised Indian, I was surrounded by Indians. But when I went to India, the thought process was never how other people would think. Like a 10-year-old asked me, where are you? Like, who are you? And I was like, and this is in my book too. So the kid said, who are you? And I was like, I'm Aditi. And she was like, no, where are you from? And I said, I'm from here, because this was in India after the Gulf War. So I'm 10 years old. I have never had people ask me what caste you are, what religion you are, what state you're from. And this 10-year-old is asking me these questions, that trying to narrow down in what box that they want to put me. And that was my first experience of being boxed into something and me retaliating against it. And I was like, well, I'm from like where you are. And then she's like, no, but like you must be from a certain state, right? And I was like, okay, so my father is from this state and my mother is from that state. And, so that's where I guess my heritage is from. So she said, no, oh, so it's a love marriage, huh? And I was like, dude, like, I was like, no, it was not a love marriage. It was an arranged marriage. My grandfather saw my mom. And this is where I believe that it's important to share with our kids, because my mom had always told me these stories. My mom always discussed everything openly with me. And you cannot believe, from that day, from that 1990, I believe 91 probably it was. And after that, for my next 2 decades or 3 decades of my life, I've answered people this way, that, I was raised in Kuwait, but my father is from Madhya Pradesh. My mom is from Maharashtra. No, it's not a love marriage.
Wow. It's like, that's your tagline.
Yeah, because it used to help me get boxed into people, because people from Madhya Pradesh in India want to know that I'm from Madhya Pradesh. People from Maharashtra get an instant click that, oh, she's from Maharashtra. If they're from a Gulf country, they're like, oh, you are an Indian raised in Gulf. Yay. So you need to be able to fill into some kind of box to be able to connect instantly with someone. And that is sad, actually, that I feel very sad. Growing up now, I feel that why do we feel the need to box people into categories? And I can see my kids having the same issue growing up, because they're going to be like, oh, my father grew up in a different state. My mom was raised in Kuwait, and we are American. No, we are not religious. We are spiritual. But that's life, and I guess that's people. But I hope that with the work I'm doing, I can help change that a little bit.
Yeah, it's very complicated to feel like you need to fit into these boxes, whether you're in one place or another, and you never really neatly fit into any box. And so then you feel bad because you can't fit neatly into any box, but you have to fit into a box to connect with people. And if only we can continue this dialogue and this work to help us see that we don't need those boxes. How do we tear down some of those walls of those boxes, and think of us more globally? But it is a very complicated topic, even today in 2020.
Right. Yep. And that's where fitting in versus belonging is an important conversation we need to start having, because teenagers and young adults, they crave fitting in with friends or with their loved ones or with a boyfriend or girlfriend. But what we want our children to feel like is that they belong wherever they are. It doesn't matter who they are, their heritage, their culture, their religion. They should be able to belong no matter where they are. These cliques, these cool kids and these nerds and all of that, that's also a cultural thing. Like growing up in Kuwait, I learned about nerds and whatever else, these terms that there are there because of American TV, because we used to get one channel and it had all American shows. So I was like, okay, I read a lot of books, so I am a nerd. And I defined myself by what I was watching on TV. And I think these are things that we need to chip away at. I know there's no magical formula for it, but the conversations that we keep having with our kids, these mindful conversations that, hey, you know what, this is not you. If just someone calls you a nerd, that doesn't mean you become one. If you see on television a kid likes a lot of books and someone calls them a nerd, that doesn't mean that you're a nerd too. Those kind of things. So yeah.
That's very interesting. It brings us back to that topic of using your cultural experience for empowerment. So using your cultural experience for empowerment is also looking at the subcultures within our schools and our communities, and how do we empower our children to navigate that and succeed and have that feeling, that sense of belonging that we all want. We all want to feel like we belong to something, to someone, to a place, to a culture, to an environment. And how do we help our children with that? So do you have any other, looking at third culture children and looking at the work that you do you have any other bits of advice or things that you've learned through your writing process and writing your books and in helping parents to, in part, help their children become empowered through their cultural experience?
Right. So that's a two-part question. I'll do the parenting thing first, is where through my 10 years of work in this field of, blogging and writing and observing people more, because once you start writing about your experiences in being a parent, you tend to observe those around you. And I see that a lot of what we do has a lot of peer pressure around us. Our cultural peers, our academic peers, we tend to get influenced very easily. So, and you don't even realize when it happens. So if anything, I would just request everyone listening to this is that please be mindful of how much you are influenced by those around you and the decisions you're making, because it's very easy to go in the flow. The problem with that is it could be a good and bad thing, but mostly what happens is your kids seeing you following the herd, and that leads to a lot of sub issues within people. And all this I say because I myself have done the mindful work of thinking every single day about why is it that the decisions I make make me the way I am. Like I said before, fitting in is something I wanted to do, which is why I would give that long driven answer. Today, if someone says that, where are you from? I say, I'm from Richmond. And they have a puzzled look on their face, but it's okay because I don't care anymore. I'm like, I am me. If you like me, we'll talk about my heritage. I'm more than happy to talk about it. But that shouldn't be the box in which you put me in. You should understand that Richmond is my home. Richmond, Virginia is my home. This is the longest I've lived in any city. It's like 12 years in one place is the first time I've ever lived in a place in my whole life. So for me, this is home. My kids were born here. We have built a home here. We bought a house here. So this is home for me. So it shouldn't define who I am. My culture shouldn't define me. It should help me in my experiences. It should make me more empowered. So the books that I read, the cultural mythology that I read, the religious text I read, that should help me be more empathetic. That shouldn't stop me from talking with other people. It shouldn't be a hindrance in my relationship with others. It should be a stepping stone or a way in which I can relate better to others. So if someone says I have, and I should be open to asking questions that, why do people do this? And why we shush our kids so quickly that don't ask this, don't do this. So I think I'm saying three things. First is be very mindful of the influence you have. Second, don't let people box you. Don't let your kids see you being boxed. And third is just think. of how you can learn more about the world, be it books, be it conversations, be it curiosity, be it books like we have a book coming out which is called the Global Raising the Global Mindset. 25 women are coming together and talking about the challenges they've faced in raising their kids who are multicultural in every aspect. So these are the kind of books that you want to be picking up to think more about it. As far as writing is concerned, I highly recommend people to use their experiences when they are writing. The cultural influence that you have in your writing process is humongous, but you need to be mindful about it. What often happens is that people write things and you are writing from your perspective, you're writing for your audience. You don't even realize you're writing to your peers, but your book is going to be read by a global audience. Your book is hopefully, your articles are going to be read by people from all over the world now. So you need to be more mindful about what you put forth. So supposing I write about something like a festival called Raksha Bandhan. Now around the world, people don't know what Raksha Bandhan is. So no matter what article I write, I cannot assume that everyone knows what Raksha Bandhan is or what Diwali is for that matter, or why Diwali is celebrated. People all around the world today know Diwali. They know Hindu celebrate it, but they don't know that it is celebrated by different cultures for different reasons around the world. So that is my job as a person who's writing, who's sharing my thought to help people understand every aspect of what I'm writing, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. And you said something that even as I'm actually finishing up a draft of a book, and I'm thinking about what you just said, because I am writing from a perspective. I think as writers, and it affects us as parents and as mentors, but putting the writing hat on, we do write from a perspective, from a lens that we've developed over time from all of our experiences, our records, the things we've lived that in some way influence how we see the world. And sometimes when we put that message out there, whatever message we're putting out there, we don't realize that we're putting it from our lens only or our perspective accidentally. And we have to broaden that conversation. Same thing with parents and helping their children be more mindful and be more culturally aware and really look at empowering themselves through their cultural experiences. Same thing with so many things we do with our mentorship and our work. So it makes perfect sense what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's just so important because when you're writing, especially representing your culture, you need to remember that your opinion is not your culture. So you need to show every aspect of it. You cannot just say that, oh, I had this experience and this is what I'm going to talk about. You need to do your research. You need to figure out what other ways there are of doing the same thing and make sure that you put it forth. Like just recently, this whole thing about the Indian matchmaking show has become a big thing. And I felt really upset about it because I honestly felt, from what I saw, I don't watch reality TV. I'm putting this caveat. I have not watched the show completely. But now people are telling me that, no, it's not as bad as you think it is. But I really feel that when you're representing, you need to make sure you have quality over quantity. You can't just say, oh, I'm representing my culture. That's enough. You need to do it in a way which is balanced, which is thoughtful, which is mindful. So yeah, thank you.
No, definitely. No, thank you. Thank you, because you're already helping me in my own writing and mentorship journey, because I think it's true. My perspective is very different. So I have to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
So definitely very helpful. In terms of all this work you do, a lot of it is focusing on parents and their children. You bring your experience as a third culture child, as we were saying, and your experiences at looking at this need for belonging and how cultural experiences can be used in a way, unfortunately, you're boxed in and you're disempowered. And so a lot of your work is looking at empowering yourself through your cultural experience. Are there any other life experiences or anything that really sparked this purpose in you? I know you're a mother and we were talking about that earlier, but was it that? Was it something else? What sparked this passion to focus so much on raising world children and to empower so many of us to be able to do this kind of work as well?
That's a wonderful question, actually. I think it was raising my kids over time. It was a snowball effect. So I had been doing freelance writing and I was writing for other publications. And I noticed that no one was doing like I was blogging personally. I was just sharing my stories. And then I realized there is hardly any collaborative platform where people talk about the minuscule problems in life, because I believe we all live in our bubbles and things like that. So, and I think the snowball effect came from the challenges I was facing in raising my kids and how I could understand why they were saying what they were saying. So, if my son would say, my son doesn't speak Hindi, my kids don't speak Hindi. And I have had people comment, oh, you speak Hindi so well. How come your kids, and you stay at home? That's a huge thing that, oh, you stay at home and your kids don't speak Hindi. That was one of the pivotal moments, which I'll mention today, is that, and I thought about it and I realized Hindi is not my first language. English is my first language. No one would, I mean, it took me 35, 37 years of my life to accept that we speak English mainly in our home. We don't speak Hindi. So where are my kids going to learn? I need to be conscious. I was just telling my husband yesterday that it is so difficult for us, both of us, to transition into Hindi with the kids, because for us, English is what we speak at home. Be it in my parents' home also, especially if my parents get mad, they speak English. And now in my home, when I get mad, I speak Hindi, which I'm working on every single day, because somehow, I realized like earlier I used to just speak English, and I was like, no, I need to start speaking Hindi, and I would speak Hindi. And then I realized, oh my God, I speak in Hindi every time I'm mad. I don't want them to associate Hindi with anger. And it's a constant process for me, because I think in English. My first thoughts, I can write much faster in English than if someone would ask me to write in Hindi. I can speak much faster in English. With Hindi, I need to think and process, and unless it's like a casual conversation. But these are things that come forward only when you're thinking about why. And if you're not, it doesn't matter. People would be like, and I got very offended when the people told me, like, you stay at home and your kids don't speak Hindi. And I got extremely offended for the first 3-4 months. It stayed with me, and it's still there with me, that I felt like a failure. I was like, okay, that is because it felt like a valid question. I stay at home, I'm with my kids all the time. Why don't my kids naturally learn Hindi? But the fact of the matter is, how are they going to learn a language they've never heard? My husband doesn't watch Hindi movies. I end up watching Hindi movies myself. Hindi movies have a lot of sexism and things like that, violence, which we never wanted our kids to watch. So that is another reason why they've never watched Hindi movies with me. It's only recently my son when he turned 9, when I said, no, sit, let's watch movies, because now I can explain things to him. Both my kids are highly sensitive, so I never wanted to introduce them these things without context. Which is a loss for us in that one aspect, which we are working on diligently. That now we watch movies. Now my mom is teaching them Hindi because now they're at home, so it's those kind of things. But it's a challenge. But people don't talk about it. People assume that, oh, if you're a bilingual, if you're a multilingual, your kids will automatically know all the languages. But that's not true. And that's one of the major things which I think brought me to that. And I was writing for other platforms, and I felt that the platforms that you write for, once they get big, they let go of the people. They don't pay attention to who's doing what. I want to create a platform, a collaborative platform, where we stand behind each other. We lift each other up honestly to raise our voices against things that are happening, like Black Lives Matter, be it South Asian culture issues, be it colorism, be it sexism, be it issues that people are facing because of being entrepreneurs and staying at home with corona. It's not easy if you're an entrepreneur mother who has to stay at home and cook the whole time and do everything, and then you have to take a step back, and all these things are not being talked about. So I want to make sure that I have a platform where everyone is taken care of, where everyone stands behind each other, stands beside each other, and make sure lifts each other up in every small way, whether it's just supporting each other's articles or staying with the book, or building a community together. And that's what I hope to do, that we build a community, a village for each other, which can help our children in turn, because like you said, it's a circle, right? We can only stand by each other when we are in a circle, and not when we, I know it's great to be big, but what about being small and nurturing and making that small bit of difference first, before just blowing up and becoming super rich and super famous, but not making any difference, making any impact. And I'm hoping, and I'm glad to say, we have a lot of great books coming up. I have one client, Dilraz, who's writing See You Soon book. It's for working mothers, helping their kids deal with anxiety. Then I have another, Shanna Miller. She's writing a book about different kids from diverse cultures, about what they want to be when they grow up. We have Sneha Jham, who's writing about stress-free prosperity, where how your culture affects your relationship to prosperity. And these are all incredible books that are coming up. We have another book coming up about grief. My own two children book are coming up. One is about body positivity, another one is about how we are all similar yet different. So these are all efforts that we are making. And of course, we have tons of free articles, thousands of free articles. We featured a lot of people. But I really, and I think I've digressed from what you had asked me, but honestly, I think it's because I'm so passionate about it, is that I wanted to, and I still continue to want to, if in my life, just help people be more mindful and thoughtful about others around them. That just because you decide life is a certain way doesn't mean that's just the perfect way or right way to live. There are many ways, and people are allowed to make all the decisions, and it's fine as long as they're not hurting someone, as long as they're not doing something illegal. Everyone has a right to live the life they want, and be strong and be rooted in whatever they choose to be.
That was a wonderful message, very powerful. I love how you you tore the cardboard box apart and created a circle of strong people supporting each other, which is what makes them so strong. You're giving each other strength, you're empowering each other to really look at things that cut across all the boxes. Just even the book topics you talk about, it doesn't matter what box you fit in. We want to get out of boxes, but what box people put you in or you put yourself in, you're cutting across all of that. You're tearing down a box and creating this big circle of powerful people who are going to empower other people in the process. And I think that is part of what we need to do. And if we're highly sensitive, I recently realized I'm a highly sensitive person myself. I took the quiz from Barbara after our interview, and sometimes we get so overwhelmed with everything else that we have a hard time navigating all these emotions and navigating this issue of being put in boxes and navigating everything that's thrown at us. And you talked about your children, but even if you're not a highly sensitive person, there's just so much to navigate, that being able to tear that box apart, create this powerful circle of people who are empowering others and themselves in the process, really is a great message and a great foundation for a company like Raising World Children.
Thank you.
Yeah. So definitely you left me with a lot to think about, a lot of tools in thinking about even my own work in my search for information and meeting people through this podcast, Coffee and Interview, as a writer and as a coach and a mentor. There's so much we can do to use our cultural experiences for empowerment and to help others do the same for themselves and for others that they touch. And so this has been a very insightful interview, very powerful interview. So thank you so much for bringing all this information and all these resources to all of us over coffee and a virtual interview, because we're all social distancing.
Yep. That's totally another topic.
Yeah. And that's a whole other podcast topic. But I also wanted to thank you for sharing your website and for having all these free resources already available for us in the forms of blogs and articles. And for our listeners, all these resources will be listed under the description. So you'll see additional interview resources, and you'll see the names of the resources with links so that you can jump right in there and see some of these resources that could help you with your own work, help you as parents, help you with your children, help you with family members, help you navigate so many situations that we are forced to navigate every day because of our differences and our perspectives, which should empower us, but sometimes we feel overwhelmed or disempowered because of the boxes or these other issues that are occurring around us. So definitely let's keep empowering each other and let's see how our cultural experiences can empower all of us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.